Joe Hopkins here, and today's video, what to look for. Is that what I titled this? Yeah, budget guitars, what to look for. You want to buy a new guitar. There are a lot of brands, right? A lot of great prices. Some of them look too good to be true. A lot of deals out there, a lot of sales, all kinds of stuff. But what do? How do you tell if the guitar you want is any damn good? I mean, we're not talking about a store where you can go try it out first. And even then, when you go to the store and try it out, is it going to last? How's it going to be in a year, 2 years? It's great today, but all right. So what do you look for? Well, first things first, you can go to channels like this one, like mine, and there are a lot of others that review guitars, especially budget guitars, you know. There are a lot of them that do that and that do comparisons and that do all kinds of stuff. Is this one better than that one? Is this brand better than that brand? But I mean, you know, it seems like we YouTubers are willing to talk up anything in order to make the company happy. Well, not all of us, right? I'll be honest with you. It seems like Glenn Fricker is pretty good at being fairly honest, sometimes brutally and offensively so, but I appreciate that. Also, I don't lie. I'll tell you guys the truth because I'm not sponsored by anybody and I don't need to be sponsored by anybody. Some people are trying to suck up so that they can like move up in the YouTube world, and that doesn't really work, right? Maybe it does for some people. I have a day job. This is my hobby, not my living, this YouTube thing. So I'm not going to lie to you. However, what I have found to be true, and this can skew some reviews, almost every guitar I've gotten has been excellent when I first get it. And it's why I do a review a year or 2 years later, or sometimes 3 years later as the guitar ages. I play the crap out of my instruments, and it's only fair to let you guys know how is this thing done over the years. Like, for instance, I bought a Firefly FFLP years ago. Great when I got it. It's developing problems as it moves on, right? I'd say maybe something you want to avoid, maybe not. However, I haven't bought any of the newer ones. I've heard they've gotten better, right? But companies like, how's their customer service? I've done reviews on this channel on customer service with different ones. Also, Firefly seems to have terrible customer service, sketchy return policies, things like that. If something's wrong, you're kind of stuck with it, you know, more or less. But here's the next thing about what to look for. Who sells the guitar? I think part of why Harley Benton has become such a huge name in the budget guitar market is they are pretty well built, right? If they weren't, you'd be hearing about it by now. They're one of the top brands. They sell a lot of guitars and have for a while, and they're sold by Thomann. And Thomann has excellent customer service. They're like the European Guitar Center, you know, or Sweetwater, that kind of thing. Musician's friend, but for Europe. And, you know, now they have a U.S. store, so if you want something in their U.S. store, the shipping isn't, like, huge anymore. It's not so bad. I think it's free shipping, but the price is a little bit more than if you ordered from Germany. But it would come out about the same with the shipping from Germany, but you can get it quicker, right? So that's nice. But the thing is, Thomann being a big store means they have customer service and decent customer service. I've dealt with them. That's another thing to look at, right? You looking to buy a budget guitar, what kind of service are you going to get? What kind of return policy? And with bigger stores, you get better service, right? There's people available. So if you call them or get them online on their online chat, which the bigger stores have, there's someone to talk to. Who sells it is a pretty big thing. It's why a lot of people really like companies like Epiphone and Squier, because they're bigger companies and they're sold through stores like Sweetwater and Musician's Friend and Thomann. And Harley Benton is a really good brand, and they're sold through a big store. Another thing you could do is, instead of just watching the videos on reviews, like I said, go down through the comments section, man, and see what people had to say. And if there are a lot of bad comments about a particular guitar brand, you might want to avoid that one. You know what I mean? Another thing to do is look at the specs on guitars. Almost every company lists the specs that are in a guitar, right? And a lot of times, if something looks way too good to be true, well, sometimes it is too good to be true at that price point. Sometimes it's not. Once again, you gotta kind of look at forums and comment sections. What do people who have bought these that have no stake in, you know, saying how great they are, what do they think, right? Because we all know, yeah, YouTubers, sometimes we have a stake in saying this is a great guitar. I tell you, I'm not going to lie to you, but you don't have to believe me. You can go through the comments sections. But unfortunately, and I've found this as a YouTuber, I get a lot of comments that simply are way off base. I think some people just got a beef against certain guitars. Maybe they got a bad one once. It happens. It does. Even with the best companies, it does happen. You know what I mean? So even that has to be taken with some skepticism. Another question is, where is the company that's selling the guitar? It might be easier to deal with a company closer to you. For instance, if you're in the US, stores like Guitar Fetish or All-in-One Guitars are in the US. Might be easier to return an instrument, might be easier to deal with them. And if you live close enough, you might even be able to visit their store and try out the instrument before you buy it. Or if there's a problem, bring it back to them. For instance, if you live in LA, All-in-One Guitars is there. If you live in Florida or in the Southeast, Guitar Fetish, I think, is in Sarasota. So if you live in Europe, you might want to take more of a look at Harley Benton or something sold by Thomann, because they're there. They might have a store near you. I don't know, does Thomann have stores? I'm assuming they have stores. But anyway, they're there. So returning it is easier, dealing with them is easier. That might be something worth consideration. You know what I mean? And a brand's reputation really matters too. I think a lot of guitar brands work really hard at building a good reputation, so that they can be seen as selling good instruments. For, once again, Harley Benton, great reputation. I remember when they only sold the really bare budget models, and they've been working their way into higher priced models that have more bells and whistles and are, you know, way better constructed. I'm not surprised at that. I kind of expect a lot of guitar brands to head in that direction, especially ones like Harley Benton. Like Ibanez did back in the 80s when they first went from just doing copycat stuff to their own thing and trying to build a real name for themselves. You know? And don't worry too much these days about where a guitar is built. The Far East is building really great guitars. China, Korea, Vietnam, they're building really good stuff these days. Remember, man, everybody put down Japanese guitars in the 70s, but by the late 80s, we started to recognize they're building really, really, really good stuff. I had an Ibanez from the 80s, and it was absolutely excellent. Even though all through the 70s, people were kind of bashing Japanese guitars, right? Well, that's happening now. Chinese guitars are starting to get a pretty good rep because they're making good stuff now, right? It takes a little while to get your feet under you with that kind of thing, but they've done it. Another thing to look at when you're buying a budget guitar is, do they have what you want, right? Or something fairly close to it. If you want really want a Les Paul, let's say you really want a Strat style guitar, or you want it with specific pickups. You really want an HSS Strat with Alnico 5 pickups and coil splitting. That can be the kind of thing that you really have to look at. Or do you really need a locking tremolo? Do you really want a Floyd Rose? Which company carries those? Does it have to be an actual Floyd Rose, or is a knockoff good enough? These are things to look at. What do they have? What actual products are on the shelf, and who has them in stock? Pay attention to that. Some companies take, if it's not in stock, they take it off the list, right? It's just not there. Some of them have it there, but it says out of stock, and you can either not be able to order it, but keep an eye on it for when it comes back in stock. Or sometimes you can go on a waiting list for that guitar. Harley Benton and Guitar Fetish, the brands sold through Guitar Fetish, they all allow you to be put on a waiting list. But sometimes you're not sure how long that list is going to be. That's another thing to consider. But if they have the guitar you really, really want, maybe get on the list. Maybe keep an eye on it, wait till it's in stock, you know, that kind of thing. All things to consider. What do you want to deal with? Who do you want to deal with? What kind of guitar you want? What do you want on that guitar? And pay attention to wording. Some places have flame maple tops on their guitars. Some of them are actually flame maple. Some of them are flame maple look or flame maple style. Pay attention to that kind of stuff, kids. It matters. Also, take a look on Amazon. A lot of companies that sell budget guitars on their own sites also sell on Amazon. It can be a lot easier. IYV, I find, is an excellent guitar. They make really good stuff. But to order from IYV, the shipping is exorbitant. And it can take a while to get to you because they're coming from Vietnam. But they sell on Amazon. And that can be a lot easier. Same thing with Firefly guitars. You want a Firefly guitar, you can order from their website on Guitars Garden, or you can go on Amazon. For some people like me, it can be easier to just order it on Amazon, right? Although on Amazon, Firefly guitars are from a third party. Amazon will let you put in a P.O. box. Don't do it because the order will get canceled. They can't deliver to P.O. boxes. So there you go. Good thing to keep in mind. Learn that the hard way. So, you know, brand name matters a lot. And some of the big brands, take a look, because some of the big name brands sell some really budget stuff. I mentioned Ibanez. They have some really low priced stuff that is rather high quality. It's Ibanez quality, but at a much lower price. I paid like $200 for my Ibanez 7-string, and it's as good as the other Ibanezes, right? It even has features you wouldn't expect on it, you know, but keep in mind it is the lower priced Ibanez. It's not going to be quite as good as the higher priced ones, but it's still Ibanez quality. Some companies do setups. Take a look at that. That matters. Let's see. Harley Benton doesn't advertise a setup, but every guitar I've gotten from them has been pretty well set up, including intonation. Hard Luck Kings does a setup, but it's going to cost you. It's worth it. It's worth it to pay for the setup. With them, setup and shipping, add $100 to the price, because you're going to spend another almost $100 on setup and shipping. Whereas All-in-One Guitars has free shipping and free setup, but a lot of times they cost a little bit more. It's sort of offsets. You know what I mean? Take a look at these things. Who has free shipping, you know? Glary, and I think Donner also has free shipping, and a lot of companies do. You know, Sawtooth has free shipping and free setup on guitars that are pretty reasonably priced, but with brands like them, look for sales. Sign up for their email list. Them and Guitar Fetish. Sign up for their email lists, and, you know, but especially Sawtooth. They run amazing sales, like 50% off, you know, that kind of stuff. They're almost always running at least 25% off, 25% off, almost all the time. Get their email lists, and seriously, man, get a sale. Because especially with a company like Sawtooth that runs amazing sales for, like, Memorial Day and Black Friday, and you can get a guitar with free shipping, great setup, amazing quality, but it costs a little bit more unless it's on 50% off. Yeah. Also, another nice thing about Sawtooth, your first guitar you buy from them, you get a coupon for another 50% off. They put one on every box, but it only works the one time, so keep that in mind. You order another guitar, you get another 50% off coupon, but on your logon, it won't let you use it a second time. So, hey, that's nice to know, though, because then you can get, if you get your guitar on a Black Friday sale, 50% off like I did, or a Memorial Day sale, like I bought another one, 50% off, you can then get another coupon, get a second guitar, 50% off. Sales matter. Who runs sales? Who runs really good sales, right? That kind of stuff. So yeah, those are some things to think about when you're looking at buying a budget guitar, right? You want to get the best price. You want to get the best guitar you can for your money. You don't want it to be crap. And it is good to look around and see who online is reviewing these things a year, 2 years, 3 years after the fact, so that you can look at it and see, how does this hold up over time? Because you want this guitar to play well for the next 20 or 30 years, not just right now. And most guitar brands I've found, most of them, you get something good out of the box. The majority of them, they last pretty well. Any guitar, even a big name brand, even the best brands out there, no matter how much you pay, is going to have wear and tear over a long period of time. You own that guitar for 30, 40 years, eventually you're going to get some kind of issue. A wire comes loose, or there's fret sprouting, or the frets simply wear down over time, you know? I've seen guitars they're great guitars. After 50 years, sometimes you got to refret the thing. It happens, but it shouldn't happen in 2 years or 3 years. It should still be pretty new at that point. These things are like cars. You expect them to go a good long time before you have major problems. So there you go. Anyway, those are some ideas. If you are in the budget or in the market to buy a budget guitar, in a sec here, there's an end screen, and I've got a reviews playlist. It comes up somewhere up here. It says reviews, and some of those are second looks, third looks at guitars. You can see how they last over time. And, you know, take a look through those reviews, or check out some other channels. Like I said, a lot of us reviewers out there. Don't just take my words for things. Go out there and look at what a bunch of people have to say. There you go. Scroll through the comments, see what the commenters have to say. So yeah, that's good stuff. And yeah, subscribe to my channel. And at that end screen, there's a playlist called "I Didn't Get a Memory" by Joe Hopkins. That's my album. Please check it out, man. Please. It would, you know, I'd love it. I'd love you for it. And there's links to streaming for that album below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.